Colombian Literature. Published February the 23rd, 2018. Further information can be found at the end of this recording. Colombian literature, as an expression of the culture of Colombia, is heterogeneous due to the coexistence of Spanish, African and Native American heritages in an extremely diverse geography. 5 distinct historical and cultural traditions can be identified, with their own socio-economic history: the Caribbean coast, Greater Antioquia, the Cundinamarca-Boyaca Highlands, Greater Tolima and the Western Valley. Colombia produced one of the richest literatures of Latin America, as much for its abundance as for its variety and innovation during the 19th and 20th centuries. Colombian intellectuals who forged the literature of this period also contributed decisively to the consolidation of Latin American literature. Part 1: Conquest and Early Colonial Period, 1499 to 1810. Under the Spanish Empire, major literary topics included conquest narratives, chronicles, religious devotion, and love themes. Some of the best-known authors of this period are Gonzalo Jiménez de Quesada, 1496. Other sources state 1506 or 1509. Susca, the 16th of February 1579, first chronicler as he kept diaries of his own conquests, main conquistador of large parts of Colombia, may have been the partial author of Epitome de la Conquista del Nuevo Reino de Granada, not published until 1889. His diaries were published in 1576. Juan de Castellanos Alanis, Sevilla, the 9th of March 1522, Tunja, November 1606. Wrote the longest poem ever in the Spanish language, Elegies de Varones y Lustres de Indias, 1589. Pedro Simon San Lorenzo de la Parilla, Spain, 1574. Ubate, circa 1628. Friar who wrote Noticias Historiales de las Conquistas de Tierra Firme en las Indias Occidentales, about the Spanish conquest in 1626. Juan Rodriguez Freire Bogotá, the 25th of April 1566, Bogotá, 1642. Spanish priest, wrote the extensive chronicle of the Spanish conquest of the Muisca, El Carnero, the sheep, first published in 1638. Hernando Dominguez Camargo Bogotá, 1606, Tunja, 1659. Jesuit priest and writer. His work was influenced by the Spanish poet Luis de Góngora, in a cultural trend known as the Indias Baroque. His most recognized works are Epic Poem to St. Ignacio of Loyola and Bouquet of Poetic Flowers. Lucas Fernández de Piedrahita Bogotá, 1624. Ciudad de Panama, the 29th of March 1688. Published Historia General de las Conquistas del Nuevo Reino de Granada, a major work about the Spanish conquest and the indigenous peoples of Colombia in 1676. Francisco Álvarez de Velasco y Zorrilla Bogotá, 1647, Madrid, 1708. His main work was Rítmica Sacra, Moral y Laudatoria. His writings show admiration for the work of Francisco de Quevedo and Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz. Francisca Josefa de Castillo y Guevara Tunja, 1671. Tunja, 1742. Nunn, recognized as one of the most important female authors of mysticism for her Affectos Espirituales and her Vida memoirs. Part 2. Emancipation and National Consolidation. 1780 to 1830. During the process of independence, Colombian literature was strongly influenced by the political motivations of the moment. The main literary movements were close to Romanticism. During the 19th century, political writing was led by Simon Bolivar. Local journalism was initiated by Antonio Nariño. The Colombian government established the first Academy of Spanish Language in the American continent in 1871. Other relevant authors were Camilo Torres Tenorio, Francisco Antoniosi, José Fernández Madrid, February the 19th, 1789, June the 28th, 1830. Part 3. Costumbrismo. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the main topic in Colombian literature was the colorful depiction of peasant life, tied to strong criticism of society and government. This type of literature was called costumbrista literature. Some of the authors of this period are Tomás Carrasquilla, Adolfo León Gómez, José María Cordovez Moore, Eustaquio Palacios, Jorge Isaacs, Julio Arboleda, Gregorio Gutierrez González, Rafael Pombo, Soledad Acosta, Josefa Acevedo de Gómez, Candelario Obiso, Manuel Ancizar. Part 4. Modern Literature. Modernismo and modernism are reactions against the previous literature of Romanticism. Modernism's main topics are ugliness and mystery. The main modern writers are Emilio Eaza, José Eustacio Rivera, Rafael Maya, Leon D. Grief, Luis Vidales, Luis Carlos Lopez, Germinal Einiges, Porfirio Baba Jacob, José María Vargas Villa. Part 5. Stone and Sky. Pedro y Cielo. The industrialization process in Latin America during the 20th century generated new literary movements such as the poetic movement named Pedro y Cielo, 1939. Its main authors are Eduardo Carranza, Jorge Gaitán Durán, Jorge Rojas, Arturo Camacho Ramirez. Part 6. Nothingism. Nadismo. The violent events in Colombia during the 1940s and 1950s, such as La Violencia and the military government of Gustavo Rojas Pinilla, as well as a considerable urban expansion, influenced in the formation of the Nadista Nothingist movement, which was the Colombian expression of numerous avant-garde-like movements in the poetry of the Americas during the 1950s and 60s, such as the Beat Generation in the United States and the Santicos in Ecuador. Nadismo included elements of existentialism and nihilism, a dynamic incorporation of city life, and a generally irreverent, iconoclastic flavor. Authors who were part of this movement include Gonzalo Arango, Jota Mario Arbeláez, Eduardo Escobar, Fanny Betrago, Patricia Ariza, Jamie Jaramillo Escobar. Part 7. The Boom. The Latin American boom was a prolific period for Colombian literature. Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Eduardo Caballero Calderón, Manuel Mejia Vallejo, Alvaro Mutis, Manuel Zapata Olivella, Andres Cachado, Alfredo Iriarte, Germano Inegas, Alvaro Cepedas Armudio. Part 8. Contemporary authors. Part 9. Disillusioned generation / Generación Desencantada. This generation groups a broad and ambiguous list of writers, poets who began to publish after the Nadismo movement. See above. In the 1970s, poets like Giovanni Querep, Harold Alvarado Tenorio, Juan Gustavo Cobo Borda, Elkin Restrepo, Jose Manuel Arango, Dario Jaramillo Agudelo, Augusto Pinilla, Maria Mercedes Carranza, and Juan Manuel Roca, among many others, have been considered part of this generation, although they have differences in style, themes and ideology. Part 10. Recent generations. Some writers like Christian Valencia, Alberto Salcedo Ramos and Jorge Enrique Botero have written literary journalism close to Gonzo style. In fiction there are authors like Hector Abad Facholens, Santiago Gamboa, Juan Sebastian Cardenas, Neil Montt, Miguel Mendoza Luna, Sebastian Pina de Betrago, Maurizio Losa, Ignacio Araoyev Pidita, Antonio Garcia, Mario Mendoza, James Cannon, Ricardo Abdullah, Juan Pablo Plata, Evelio Rosero Diago, Antonio Unga, Laura Restrepo, Ruben Varona, William Ospina, David Alberto Campos, Oscar Perdomo Gamboa, Juan Esteban Constein, Juan Alvarez, Andres del Castillo, Antonio Iriarte Cadena, Esamir Garces, Antonita Villamil, Winston Morales, Efraim Medina Reyes, Ricardo Silva Romero and many others. Part 11. Recent poetry. In recent decades, in Colombia there has been a significant number of poets of importance who deal with urban issues and anti-poetry. Among them are Antonita Villamil, Andrea Cote, Lucia Estrada, Felipe Garcia Quintero, whose poetry has been recognized internationally. Part 12. Poetry. Emilio Eaza, Jose Asuncion Silva, Porfirio Baba Jacob, Piedad Bonnet, Antonita Villamil, Jose Fernandez Madrid, Jorge Isaacs, Rafael Bumbo, Zacharias Brian, Julio Flores. Part 13. Children's Literature. Some of the characters most recognized in Colombian children's literature and the popular imaginary are the stock characters created by Rafael Bumbo, which are often found in nursery rhymes, familiar folk tales and in the textbooks for elementary school. Other important children literature authors are Jero Anibal Nino, with his works La Alegría de Cora, The Joy of Love, Rasgo, Indo Zaz, Kaitali no Bokakika, among others. Euclides Jaramillo, with the Tales of Uncle Rabbit. From the 1980s, young adult fiction authors Gloria Cecilia Diaz, Irene Vasco, Evelio Jose Rosero, Yolanda Reyes and Pilar Lozano introduced new subjects for the genre such as conflict, kidnapping, Death and Fear. Recent picture book voices include the work of Eva Darkle, Claudia Rueda, Jero Batrago and Raphael Yoctang. Special characters in this article were substituted with audio cues. They were denoted as follows: and, beginning and ending single or double quotations, and, left and right parentheses, a bullet point, an M dash. This recording is a derivative work from Wikipedia. For more information, to commission recordings like this, and to support the developer, please visit www.patreon.com/frogcast.